But that's not the only issue here, former ombudsman. Even the current ombudsman is saying, in so many words, there's some sort of veil of secrecy here when you handed down that decision in 2019. Was it a secret decision, as they're calling it to be, former ombudsman?
I'd like to throw back this question to the one who was talking a while ago, the voiceover. I don't know who was being interviewed.
That was Paulo Tamase of the UP College of Law. Go ahead.
The Supreme Court does not announce all of its promulgated decisions. Okay? Not every lawyer knows the decisions of the Supreme Court. Not every official of the government, lawyer, or lawyers of the Office of the Solicitor General would know the decisions of the Court of Appeals. Neither the Supreme Court nor the Court of Appeals nor the Office of the Ombudsman or the Office of the Prosecutor of the Department of Justice has that duty to be always, announcing the decisions they have made. Otherwise, if that will be one of our functions, wala na kaming trabahong gagawin kundi mag-announce na itong decision na ito ay pinirmahan ko ngayong araw na ito, itong decision na ito ay final ko labang kay Juan de la Cruz, itong decision na ito labang kay Juana de la Cruz ay dismiss namin. Yung mga ganon. Wala na kami gagawin.
Pero a former
But it
ombudsman...
doesn't mean that we are not transparent.
Pero former ombudsman, one can also argue that by doing so, by announcing, then you will be performing your very mandate. Katulad nga nung sinabi ni UP College of Law Assistant Professor Paulo Tamase, nag-ugat po ang ombudsman sa tanod ng bayan. So for you to be able to announce it and inform the public, wouldn't that be tantamount to protecting the interests of the public? That extra effort to be transparent. Go ahead.
With all due respect to that professor, I think kulang ang basa niya sa functions ng ombudsman, okay? The ombudsman, of course, is mandated to be transparent. No doubt about it. Any government office under the Constitution is mandated to be transparent. Kung nagbasa-basa si Professor Fader, it is not the function of the ombudsman to be conducting every day a press conference announcing that this is what I did, announcing to the people that I signed the order dismissing from the service Senator Juan de la Cruz. It is not the duty of the ombudsman to be announcing. Probably my predecessor was doing it. Probably my successor now is doing it. But I did not want to be glorified at the expense of people whose guilt are not yet determined by the court. Because the function of the ombudsman is just to determine probable cause for purposes of filing an information in court. It is now the duty of the ombudsman to prove to the court that there is proof beyond reasonable doubt. If the court is not convinced that there is proof beyond reasonable doubt, the accused is acquitted. So kung magpuputak ako ngayon, kung magpe-press ko na po na nag-file ako ng case labang kay Juan de la Cruz, and later on Juan de la Cruz is acquitted by the court, hindi ko ba sinira ang dignidad ni Juan de la Cruz? Did I not destroy the reputation of Juan de la Cruz? Did I not destroy the family of Juan de la Cruz, especially the cases about violation of the Anti-Graft and Corrupt Practices Act? Nirerespeto ko yung dignidad ng isang tao. Pinoprotektahan ko yung dignidad ng isang tao dahil karapatan niya yun eh. Let the court now announce that he was convicted, not us to announce that Juan de la Cruz was convicted by the court. I don't want to glorify myself at the expense of people who are convicted by the court, or at the expense of people who have cases before the Office of the Ombudsman. If that is their hang-up, let it be. That is not my hang-up. That is not the values that was inculcated to me by my parents. That is not the values that was given to me by the Benedictine. where I study my law. Hindi ho yun ang tinuro sa amin eh. Ang tinuro sa amin, at yan nasa utak ko, irespeto mo ang dignidad ng iyong kapwa. Huwag kang maninira ng iyong kapwa para lang sumikat ka. Diba?
Former
Kaya
Ombudsman.
nga tanong ko ngayon,
Yeah.
pati yung professor, alam ba niya lahat ang kaso na dinidesisyon ng Supreme Court? Yeah, kung hindi niya alam, sasabihin niya secret decision yun.
So,
Now, let me ask also, why of all cases, this is the only case that fell into the table of the Ombudsman Remulla. Bakit ito lang kaso ni Joel Villanueva? Yang dami namang kaso sa Ombudsman na dinisisyon na namin. Bakit bukod tangi kaso ni Joel Villanueva? Dahil magsabi kay Ombudsman Remulla na yan si Villanueva, dinismiss yan noon araw ni Ombudsman Carpio Morales. See? At bakit ko bibigyan ng kopya si Carpio Morales ng decision ko, hindi naman party in interest si Carpio Morales. And why should also the Office of the Ombudsman at that time in 2019 give Remulla a copy of that decision when Remulla is not a party to the case?
okay,
Ay,
former
nako, itong kaso
former
ho
Ombudsman.
ito ang yes.
Yeah, if I may, let me go through my questions as well. Here's the thing, you spoke of protection a while ago. Sabi niyo po, pinoprotektahan niyo din yung dignidad nung tao. And this is what people have been saying about your stint as ombudsman when you were still sitting there in that office. They were saying that you were in fact protecting these personalities and you were not there to protect the public's interest. What is your reaction to that? How do you defend yourself from that criticism? Go ahead.
Don't get me wrong. One of the powers or of the mandate given to the Ombudsman is to be the protector of the people. The word people is used in unqualified terms, meaning to say you should protect the rights of the complainant and the rights of the respondent. Kaya hindi ako nagsasalita, it's not because pinoprotektahan ko itong mga taong ito. Pero siya, pinoprotektahan ko sa kaso, no. Kaya hindi ako nagsasalita dahil wala akong karapatan sirain ang kanilang future. Kasi, okay, sabi ko na nga kanina, sinabi ko na nag-file kami ng kaso o we found this particular person guilty of violating guilty of malversation, sabihin na lang natin. Papatak sa utak ng mga tao na itong taong ito ay nag-malverse ng pera. Paano kung pagdating sa court, sa sandigan ba, inakwit itong taong ito? Diba, ako ang gumawa ng kinasira ng taong ito? Kasi sabi ko nga, magkaibang degree of proof. Ang sa amin is only probable cause for purposes of filing a complaint or information in court. Once the complaint or once the case reaches the court, a different degree of proof, a higher degree of proof is required, which is proof beyond reasonable doubt. So, pag inakwit ng court, siniraan ko na. Nagsasalita na ako na hindi, guilty yan eh. Nagwaldas ng pera yan eh. Ikinakwit ng court. Ito nanim na sa yung utak ng taong bayan na nagwaldas nga ng pera to. Hindi ba siniraan ko yung taong yon? I am not saying I am protecting the guilty. No. Mali yun. That is taken out of context.
How would you...
The ombudsman is supposed to be the protector of the people.
Exactly.
Okay.
So when you talk about, inadvertently, that it will taint the reputation of the accused, but wouldn't being transparent to the people about the whole process from beginning to end, wouldn't that also protect the rights of the people? How do you then strike a balance between the two? That this is you're being transparent enough so that the people know of the decision. Ito nga
na
dismiss naman.
go back to the basics. let's go back to the basics. Let's first define transparency. What does transparency mean? Diba? Anong ibig sabihin ng transparency? Kailangan ba lahat ng detalye ng kaso araw-araw i-announce namin? Kailangan ba tawag doon, pag mayroon kaming desisyon, i-announce ng ombudsman? Kailangan ba tuwing mananalo ang ombudsman ng kaso sa husgado, i-announce ng ombudsman? Is that transparency? Is that the definition of transparency? Transparency means to say that my acts are all transparent, my acts are all open to the public. So kung may magtatanong sa amin, tulad ng kaso ni Joel Villaneva, marami nag-request ng kopya ng decision. Binibigyan namin. That is transparency. Wala kami tinago. Pero kung sinasabing secret decision, you know, nakakatawa, wala kami secret decision kasi hindi ko lang makuha kung sino yung mga tao, but I know that we had been receiving letters before requesting for a copy of the decision dismissing the case of Senator Joel Villanueva. In fact, that copy of the decision was furnished the Senate President Vicente Soto III. Pinadalahan ho namin siya ng kopya ng desisyon. You can check the files of the Senate.
Yeah, and we checked
Nandun
it.
ho yun.
Yeah. Sorry, former Ombudsman,
Yes.
we're running out of time, and we do need to ask you a few more questions. There's also this criticism that your decision wasn't really a decision, given that, and I know you've answered this already, this is the criticism of some, that it wasn't published, you weren't transparent with the decision, making it a secret decision, and therefore it's just a memo, an internal memo that can be reversed by the current Ombudsman. Your thoughts on that?
Again, I go back to my previous question. That the Supreme Court always announce its decisions. Are all the decisions of the Supreme Court published? There are unpublished decisions. Those that are published at the ISCRA or the Philippine reports are decisions that have already been selected to be published. So you mean to say those unpublished decisions are secret decisions? You know that for a fact that there is such a thing in the Supreme Court as a minute resolution. You mean to say that minute resolution also is a secret minute resolution? No. These all form parts of the records of the case. Wala ho. Yung alam ko ho, yung nakikriticize ho sa akin. Either Dilawan, Pinklawan, kasi lahat ng bagay na nangyayari ngayon, nilalagyan ng political color. Wala naman akong kulay politika. I admire so much Noynoy Aquino. I admire Gloria Macapagal Arroyo. Kaya hindi ko alam kung bakit itong mga critics ko walang pigil Kanino ba sila? Are my critics working for the complainant? Bayad ba sila na? I mean, I'm sorry to say these things, especially the PR offices. Bayad ba sila? Alam ko yun
Or
Isang
maybe,
judge, wala nang ginawang sulat kundi kontra sa akin.
well, former Ombudsman, or maybe they're critical of you because of the decisions you've made. I mean, take, for example, the decision to prevent access to SALANs of public officials. Now, under the Remulla regime, he lifted that. I mean, that's one. That's one thing that they're critical of. Go ahead.
I did not prevent access to SALN of all government officials. I go back again to what I said to the UP professor, hindi siya nagbasa. Okay? If you read the memorandum order that I issued on the access of SALN, I was referring to a statement of assets and liabilities that are filed in the office of the Ombudsman. So what are these assets and liabilities na nakafile? Kanino? SALN ng Presidente, ng Vice Presidente, ng Chairman ng Civil Service Commission, chairman ng COA, chairman ng COMELEC, chairman ng Human Rights Commission, at sa ombudsman. After that, you have the governors, the mayors, and the councilors. Do you have the light colonels down the line? Wala ho sa amin yung salin ng cabinet members. Wala ho sa amin ang salin ng undersecretary.
No, but I guess
Wala ho sa amin ang salin ng mga general.
the criticism is, did you even have to make that decision? And your critics are now lumping all of these controversial decisions together. Add to this decision on Senator Joel Villanueva's case, and they sort of have this whole picture of a one-sitting ombudsman that held office that wasn't true to its mandate, and that this ombudsman protected the interests of a few rather than protecting the interests of the public. That's the picture that they have, former ombudsman.
Why are they throwing this stone only at me? Okay? The Supreme Court, the judiciary has its own guidelines on how to access the stallion of justices and judges. And the very basic in that guideline is always the consent of the owner or the filer, of the justice or the judge. The Senate of the Philippines also has guidelines, and one of the guidelines is consent of the filer. The House of Representatives also has the same guideline. In fact, the House of Representatives went even further, that it needs the approval of majority of the members during plenary session. Okay? So bakit ang ombudsman ang tinatamaan? Bakit hindi nila kinikriticize ang Senado? Bakit hindi nila kinikriticize ang House of Representatives? Bakit hindi nila kinikriticize ang judiciary? Dahil hindi nila kaya, ang kaya nila ang ombudsman? Is that it? Bakit hindi nila kinikriticize ang judiciary? Dahil makakaroon sila ng mga kaso, natatakot sila matalo? Bakit hindi nila kinikriticize ang Congress? Dahil mayroon sila mga kaibigang congressman na tatamaan? Ganon ang tanong bakit ang ombudsman? Why throw this stone give to the ombudsman? Pare-pareho kami may mga guidelines, and the only guideline, the only thing that I ask, or we ask, kunin mo ang consent ng may-ari ng salin, then we issue it to you. Period. So Baruch Biraogo, Attorney Biraogo went to the Supreme Court to question this guideline. The Supreme Court denied this, the Supreme Court upheld the right of the ombudsman to promulgate its rules. And in fact, the Supreme Court in that Biraogo case admitted that even the judiciary has its own guidelines on how to access the salin.
All right.
Yun nga ang tanong namin lahat sa ombudsman nung araw, bakit kami lagi ang sinisisi? Dahil kami lang ang kaya?
Oh, maybe because you have really that distinct privilege and honor and mandate to protect the people. We're going to have to leave it at that. Former Ombudsman Samuel Martires there joining us on the line. Appreciate you taking our call, former Ombudsman. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Thank you. Thank you for your time. Thank you.